Well, I am here today with one of our wonderful Red School mentors, Amanda Tress. And Amanda, you only came to you're obviously post-menopause like me. You're just coming out of it, just coming out of it. And you came to the cycle work really just as you were entering menopause. You were still menstruating, but you were definitely in the big wind down, as I like to say. So I want to ask you firstly, was it still useful for you to learn about the cycle work, even as you were on the verge of going bye-bye to it all?
Yes, yes, it was so valuable. It really was. It taught me we're not consistent. We're different all the time. It taught me to value different aspects of myself. So I was much more accepting and kind towards myself and appreciative of myself, and much less at the mercy of the critical voice. And also it really showed me that I had been more in tune with myself than I had realised when I could look back in retrospect. It also showed me where there were gaps in my cycle and how I can use that knowledge now to tend better to those spaces. So yes, absolutely. I would really recommend it to any woman, wherever they are. Garner that information and look back at your own cycle to see what treasures are there for you.
I always remember the story you shared, Amanda, that always touched me, which was that when you were working as a massage therapist and when you were menstruating and you had to give a treatment and you would feel deeply internal and like you had very little to give, and you found that you did your best massages at that time, the most kind of profound. Yeah, and you unwittingly were sort of you were unwittingly kind of connected to the deep powers of menstruation and sort of channeling something at that time whilst doing very sort of minimal massage, as I understand it.
Yeah, absolutely true. I think I was really out of my own way.
That's it.
Yeah, and that tuneness. If I would just work as slowly as I was able, and I'd often come to the end and I go, oh, I haven't finished really. I'd just say, life, could you finish for me? And everything would fall into place and the client would get up and pay cheerfully and disappear, and I would just be, yes.
It sounds like you were in the love bubble.
Yes, thank you for naming that. That's great.
Yeah, well, okay, so you had a little time to sort of reconfigure your menstruating years. And then you were really plunged into, and I hesitate here, and I use this word guardedly, the sort of madness of menopause. And in a way it was mad because you were really missing the instruction manual, weren't you? Because you really hadn't had that long working with the cycle.
Yes, I think that's it. I had not really made that connection. I thought everything happened when you stopped bleeding. I didn't really realise that this sort of erraticness and these shifts was all part of the process. And so when I really sort of fell into the void and the separation of life really seeming not to have much meaning, I was really thrown. And it did feel, I say this to any woman who feels like they might be going mad, that is how I felt. Because I couldn't see how my experience could be named or where I could share that without somebody saying you're probably going mad. And I didn't really want to hear that or have that confirmed.
Amanda, how did you get through it? What helped you to actually start to craft meaning and sort of claim yourself and anoint yourself as okay?
Well, I also unwittingly I just did really simple things. I did the only things I could do. I cleaned the kitchen. I learned how to make bread, jam, chutney. I'd walk. I take photographs, and those were the things that I went to gardening classes that just kept me sort of grounded and actually sane. And then the timing arose that I came to your menopause workshop. And there you unpacked these phases, these transitional phases, which echo the menstrual phases, which I had not really had passed me by, probably partly because I was in the perimenopause.
Yes, exactly, Amanda. Really, you were. And yes, so you hadn't had the years of living your menstruation and experiencing what we now call the 5 chambers of menstruation. And that if you understand that, then you've got the template for the 5 phases of the menopause transition. So yes, you can. I remember you coming to that menopause workshop, and you were able then to put your experiences into the vessel of those phases, really, you know, and make meaning out of it, weren't you?
Absolutely. That was like the handrail. Suddenly I went, oh, this is all fine. This is all exactly how it's meant to be. It's only because I didn't understand that it seemed so porous is the word that's coming to me. But once I understood, that was like, I've got a direction, you know. This is fine. I can trust that this is unfolding in the right way. I've got somewhere to go.
You know, what's coming to me as you say that is that you finally allowed yourself to feel held by the process of menopause, that something was unfolding, you were being carried somewhere else. Yeah. And you could now trust that holding. Yes. And the tragedy is, of course, that during our menstruating years, we're building this consciousness of feeling held by something. You know, our menstrual cycle holds us, and have a sense that there is an intelligence in our bodies working us. Now, momentarily, it feels like that intelligence abandons us, doesn't it? In that great moment where you step off the edge into menopause, which we call the void or separation. And that really does feel like, there is no handrail. No one is there. Actually, there is, but we are in the death moment. And so it always feels like there's nothing. But eventually you in a sense remember from your menstruating years that holding. And you didn't have that preparation, but you found it nonetheless, because it is still there. It's always there. It's just the menstrual cycle years just makes it more and more conscious for us.
Yes, I think that's really beautiful to know, to look back and go, actually, I did what I needed to do, or I did what I could do. And actually and I was very fortunate to have the space, in a way. The space which was scary also was the space that allowed me to just do those simple things.
Yes, in fact, those simple things are just magnificent. They're sort of magnificent practices or remedies for just occupying yourself, but in a very organic and simple way where you're in your own bubble, so that you can just allow yourself. So it's almost like they hold you as you traverse that great emptiness. And you're sort of cooking the emptiness on the inside, and you're held in something. It's so interesting. Anyway, Amanda, you are now standing. Well, you're just really on the edge of the new country, I think, aren't you?
Yes. Yeah. I sort of, as you say that, I feel like it's like, it's sort of like peering over into the next void, actually. It's like, have I got to be separate from this process now? I suppose so. But I've done it before. It'll be all right.
Yeah. You bring up something very interesting there, Amanda, which is that the menopause becomes its own country. And when you leave menopause, you are into a new space, aren't you? And there's all that, and you know, in Chinese medicine they talk about, they talk about post-menopause as the spring of the second spring, and it has all that vulnerability of the emerging spring, doesn't it? Of I'm new, a little bit naked, and so on. But it's full of ripeness and a possibility of things to come, isn't it? It's a very delicious moment and a tender moment. Well, Amanda, I wish you well as you emerge into the new country. Look, for me, who's a little way down the track now, I just want to say it's fab.
Yes, yes, and that's the trust, isn't it? Too. That's that actually it is better and better, and yes, that has to be the message.
It has to be the message. I think it gets better and better as long as you're taking care of your health.
Yes,
and and continuing to listen to yourself. It is freedom country. Well, Amanda, thank you for taking this time to share your experiences.
Thank you, Alexandra. It's a pleasure. Really, it's great.
And just to let people know that Amanda is one of our mentors at Red School and is brilliant at supporting women through the menopause now that she's done it and knows the intricacies of it, and also you assist on all the menopause workshops that I run, or most of them. So yes, you are available for mentoring sessions to help women through the menopause.
Yes,
Thank you, Amanda.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.